So now that we have gathered our sphere and we have completed display, we're going to do the last thing. I know we're well over the hour mark, but bear with me. We're gonna work our sphere, okay? So this is that second playbook. So you could get to it this way, or you can just still go under playbooks and then go to work your sphere after you're done with gather your sphere. So we're gonna open this up. Let's see, before we get started on working our sphere, any questions whatsoever? How are we looking? Make sure to use the chat, interrupt me at any moment if anything's confusing or you have any input. Going once, going twice. All right. So this is the Workersphere Playbook, okay? And I've just opened that up right now. So once you open that playbook, after completing your Gather Your Sphere playbook, you're gonna get access to this. And what this playbook does is gives you a cool to-do list of things that you should be doing with those contacts you just created. Okay, we're gonna go through it so it'll make more sense. So once you open this, we'll start with the first play. And that first play is called Fill in the Gaps of Your Contacts. And as you can see here, this is the sphere group we created together. So this sphere group, it looks like there are contacts within it that don't have certain information. So this play right here will cycle through each of those contacts and have you fill in that information if you know it. So first example is me. This is my name. Looks like I don't have a home anniversary. I don't have one, so I'm going to skip. And then you could go through each of the contacts that way. Looks like this contact doesn't have a last name. You could put that in. So this kind of makes sure that, you know, you search for that info and populate that into your system. You can do this manually under the CRM tab, that place we looked at before. But the great thing about Playbooks is it has all of that for you in this, you know, playbook, they call it. So you could do everything at once in one place. Very streamlined and very quick and easy. So it'll have you cycle through all those people. You can put their information on there. Once you're done with that, you're going to save and continue. And once we do that, it'll take us to the next play. Okay, this is a very powerful play right here. It's called Capitalize on Sphere Opportunities. So what that's going to do is anyone under that expired one group, it'll give me the option to, and just from the screen, I can add them to an email campaign or a smart campaign, KvCore calls it. And I don't have many set up, I only have this one. But also that's something that's really important that we need to hopefully touch on future Tech Tuesdays. But you can put people under a specific campaign and have KvCore just do that for you. Super simple. You can just select it from this drop down here and then press add campaign. Now, like I said before, I really recommend you create your own contact and then play around with these features so you can see what they look like, you know, for the people receiving these messages from your system. So try to be familiar with everything before you click on these buttons, because I know typically when you do stuff on computers, you'll click on a button and it'll say, are you sure you want to do this? And then you can press yes or no. This section will not ask you if you're sure. It'll just go ahead and do it. And actually, when I set up my KvCore, I sent an email to all the 6,000 people in my database by mistake. And that was a little frustrating, but it was a market report, so it wasn't too bad. I didn't just send any gibberish stuff. But yeah, don't press these buttons unless you're sure that's what you want to do, because it's not going to ask you whether you're sure or not. And you can set all these contacts up with a search alert also. So it'll actually tell you if your contacts have addresses or if they don't have addresses attributed to them. So if they have an address, so like it says right here, one contact does not have a search alert, but we do have an address for that contact in the system. So for that one person, I can create a search alert just from the screen and enroll them in that, just like that, super easy from the click of a button. And under it, it'll show the rest of the contacts. So it looks like 62 out of the 60, no, 61 out of the 62 people in my sphere group, expired one, does not have a search alert and do not have an address on file. So what you can do is you can still send them some information, a market search alert, by clicking this button right here. And you can put in a general area. So most likely all of these guys will be within the LA County area. So maybe you can just send everyone, a Los Angeles markets search alert area. So you could type that in, and then what kind of listing you want to include, single family, townhouse. You can scroll through the drop down right here and then press done, and it will send those people that generic search alert. Okay, I'm going to cancel. And then in the same way you can send out search alerts, you could just do the market reports also. You could create a market report for people who already have an address in the system, so it'll tailor it to that address. Or for the people who don't have an address, you can just send a generic one. And just like for the search alert, you could just put in a general city and just send that out. Okay, so just from this screen alone, you're able to add people to a smart campaign, enroll them in search alerts, and enroll them in market reports. So that's the beauty of Playbooks. Everything is there for you. It's streamlined, it's quick, and it makes sure you didn't forget something, okay? Because contacts are going to come into your system all the time. You might forget them. You might forget to add them to a smart campaign. You might forget to, set them up with a search alert. But on this screen, it's in your face. So you know to go through all of these checklists and make sure you're advertising and promoting pretty much everything at all times. Okay, so that is the capitalize on sphere opportunities play. Okay, any questions before we move on? We're almost done. I'm just going to go through these bottom ones right here. All right. So once you're done sending out the, adding them to campaigns, setting them up with search alerts and whatnot, you can also go to reach out to sphere contacts. Okay, so on this play right here, it'll generate a list of people within that sphere group we created, people who I have not talked to in the past 90 days. Okay, so it will know that information, and you can actually email all of those people at once to reset that clock. You could text them, canned messages. So canned messages, I didn't know what this was. I had to Google it. It's just a set of already made responses, so canned messages that KvCore has, you have these two to choose from. Or if you want to type up your own message to these people you have not talked to over the past 90 days, you can click the email button at the bottom and compose your own, email. Okay, and you can set that up how you want, or you could choose a different template for them. Sky's the limit. I'm gonna cancel this. You can also text them, drop a voicemail. Again, the voicemail thing is a paid thing, so just so you guys know. You can also send them a video, but you can only do one person at a time. If you want to do multiple, send a video to multiple people at once, it is also an extra fee to do that. Okay, so in this play, this will make sure you're in touch with pretty much everyone and no one has not been neglected for over 90 days. Okay, so once you're done with this section, you also have the option to create life event lists. Those are another way you can kind of group certain people together. So whether that be people who just recently got married, so you can add people, that recently got married. I know everyone knows someone that's about to or is or just got married. If we click on the arrow, it'll take us to another list. Do you know anyone who recently had a child? Do you know anyone who recently changed the jobs? You can kind of populate that. I was playing around with this prior, so that's why you see Steve right here. He's actually a friend of mine who started working for an electric car company. So I was just messing around with that. Anyone who recently got divorced. And on the 5th section, you can actually create your own life event. So anything. It could be anything you want it to be. Maybe, college graduation. You kind of create that list and then add people who just graduated from college. And once you add someone, so let's actually add Steve back here. So you guys, okay, he's still here. So Steve recently changed jobs. So once I finish filling up all of these lists, I can save and continue. And it'll actually have me dial that list, okay? And KvCore will remember every single year to tell me that, hey, it's been over a year since Steve changed jobs. Go ahead and call Steve and let him know that you do remember. How's everything been at the new job? And make sure to remind him you're still a real estate agent, and to, have him keep you at the top of his mind. So that's another way to keep track of people and what's going on in their life and be a little bit more personal, okay? So you can call using the dialer right on here. You can send Steve a video or drop a voicemail. You can see it's just one of one because it's just Steve, and he just recently changed jobs. Okay, so that's this section. And then at the bottom right here, this is one of the last few plays. So I'm going to save and continue, of course. On here, so this section doesn't only affect your sphere group that we just created. This is just for pretty much anyone you want to add. So you can actually create a newsletter, okay? This is really cool because you can keep in touch with people consistently by creating a nice, well put together newsletter, which KvCore will actually let you make on here, or you can just make yours somewhere else and copy and paste it into KvCore. So let's just go through this really quickly. On here, you can choose who receives these monthly newsletter. You can only send it to people with a certain filter like we created before. You can do contacts with a specific hashtag, or you can do contacts with a specific status. So whether they've just closed, whether they're a prospect or still a sphere, you can target people that way. You can set when to send it, and you can press the edit right here, and then you can type up that newsletter. Something that's really cool, if you click on the advanced editor right here, it has this really cool system for you to actually build out a nice looking newsletter. Okay, I have not played around with this too much. I use Canva, which is a third-party program you can make cool graphics stuff with, but you can also use this right here to, kind of build something nice. You can add different rows to it. You can add content, you can add buttons. You can play around with that. Maybe we'll create a newsletter at another time together and send that out live. But yeah, so you can create that there and then just have it sent by pressing this button at the top. And then we come up on our last section. So I'm going to skip this because I'm not sending anything right now. So this last section we've already seen. This was also part of the last playbook, but you can, share a market report, or you can share a home valuation landing page with people that you can share through social media, Twitter, or, whatever you want. And you can also have the link to it to post anywhere you want. So we've already seen this already. Okay, so now we are pretty much done. So I'm going to close this out. So now we know how to gather, import your sphere into KvCore. We know how to, attribute a hashtag to them. We know how to create a sphere group. And then once all of that's done, we can come to the Workersphere Playbook and actually, work them. You can send them, search alerts. You can enroll them in smart campaigns, a bunch of cool stuff. So everything you've seen under Playbooks, you can do manually, but Playbooks is just a way for you to streamline the process, make it really quick.